a lot of it last week from a number of different mid laners. Bjergsen, Jensen both picked up player of the games on Talia. We saw Froggen playing it as well, so it's been around quite a bit. Rumble going to be banned out here against Huni and Rise. I think that's a really smart takeaway from Huhi. I think that's his best champion by quite a bit.
I totally agree. And honestly, Huhi is a player that I respect a whole lot because he branched into new champions so quickly, right? Put a bunch of games in AP Echo, brought out Aurelion Sol into the mid-season invitational, but he still is actually willing and able to play the normal stuff like Rise and Azir or whatever. But the fact that he's so flexible makes me really respect him as a player. And of course, we see the Talia ban first off from Immortals because they know about that flexibility. They saw him do it last week, and we're piling through the rest of the bans pretty much as normal. You're seeing 3 mid lane bans against Huhi.
Yep, a lot of focus on him to be sure. Question remains here, will Azir be taken off the table? Pobelter, a fantastic Azir player. It's going to be Olaf, though. So it's something that not everyone plays, but it feels like the players that do play it get a lot of attention on the bans, and people try to take it away because it's not something that I feel like people are really used to dealing with, and they do kind of struggle against it sometimes. Reingover, a fantastic Olaf player, has shown it quite a lot, even last year at Worlds as well, and last split, this split. So it's a champion that he really is comfortable on, and Azir first pick, no big surprise there. Pobelter's amazing.
Right, and you see the sort of trade going after the final ban by CLG, wanted a sort of horse trade. You get Azir, we get to push you down on the jungle priority a bit, so the Rek'Sai lock, and I think no surprise. And there's Sivir as the probably most hotly contested AD carry at this stage of the game.
Yeah, Sivir definitely fantastic, but there's some other very good AD carries available too.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, Ashe, Jhin, those are two that are very, very popular. Ezreal, always a popular pick. I also would not have been surprised to see Karma go first round. I think that the Karma Rek'Sai rotation is always incredible. If you're able to get that, Karma can kind of secure your bot lane matchup in most matchups, especially when you do have things like Soraka banned away. It can kind of push people off of those picks a little bit. Teemo, and it's not so troll anymore. Maybe we'll see it. Maybe we'll see it.
I mean, Teemo's 0-2 in games right now over in Korea. Yeah, there we go. Lucian locked in for Huni in the top lane. Just kidding. That's for Wildturtle. And yeah, Karma coming through. So yeah, so we're still seeing obviously strong champions like Lucian coming through. Karma, I think no surprise, but you know, they're bargaining their top picks back and forth. Immortals not trying to show their top laner yet.
And when Karma's available at this stage in the draft, going to be very happy to pick that up. We'll have to see what kind of a support Aphro wants to go for. When they played against Envy last week, he played Thresh, and his Thresh was actually very, very good.
Yeah.
He was the one who was it was on him to make the plays to win them that game, to be able to take down Laud on the Caitlyn. He was able to pull it off multiple times. Would be excited to see if he goes for that once again. One of the few guys kind of playing Thresh these days.
Yeah, and it's always nice to see. I love that the support pool, I guess kind of Karma notwithstanding, is pretty wide. You've got a lot of different options. And
Nami, Soraka,
right, exactly.
Thresh even, the Brahms, the Alistars, there's a lot.
Yeah, and I love seeing champions 1 in every 10 games, right? 10% of the time we see a Thresh, and it's super sick when it comes out. Stixxay taking a lot of time with this one. Does go to Bard, but Aurelion Sol comes back in for Huhi. That was his initial counter pick back at the midseason invitational. Well, they never won any games. He always looked good in the champion. Again, I love players that do this, that put in the work, learn the new champs, and I do think Aurelion Sol's really good in this matchup.
Yeah, I agree. I think that both those games that he played it in, he was actually the one coming out on top. His team maybe didn't have as good of a game, but I think individually he looked great. I also do know that as far as their scrim results and stuff at MSI, it was banned against them every game against SKT, and apparently that was because SKT was actually losing to Hui's Aurelion Sol a lot. So he's definitely very good at this champion. We'll see what the final picks are going to be here for Immortals. Would not be surprised to see that in Italy it does get locked in. It's one of Reingover's favorites. Definitely probably the second on the tier behind the Rek'Sai for him, and Olaf already taken off the table. So it's actually going to be the Hecarim here for Huni once again.
Okay, a blind pick Hecarim. Definitely a very, very strong champion. Not surprised to see him in the list at all, and they had to go for something here. It's definitely a safe choice. Now the question is, what's your counter pick to the Hecarim? This team is actually pretty well suited for something like Riven if they wanted to go for it. Something squishy and very high damage.
And I actually think that Jax is pretty darn good against it also. I really do feel like Hecarim, although he has the burst and everything, if he can't kind of like one-shot you at the start of the fight, you gotta start to learn the sustained fights. And against champions like Jax, it can be very hard for him. Obviously, the jungle matchups do affect that a lot. And Hecarim doesn't have to necessarily win his lane to win the game because he's fantastic at roaming, the TP plays, the ultimate's coming in. You don't have to kill the top laner, you can one-shot the AD carry. Yeah. So that works out pretty well too. Tahm Kench has risen in priority a fair bit, seeing some play. Would not be surprised to see that coming down either. But it is going to be the Jax.
Yeah,
I think this is smart. It's a good matchup. The Hecarim Q does go through Jax's Counter-Strike, but as I said, you go into this trade, Hecarim charges you, it's looking really good for him, and then all of a sudden, the Jax has his ultimate pop, he's whacking away at you, the passive is stacked, he starts doing much more DPS over time, so he's able to kind of really wear you down in those extended trades. If Hecarim can't get ahead and kind of one-shot him, Jax is going to have that split push advantage. At the same time, Nidalee, a fantastic jungler to affect that top lane matchup, could put Huni ahead. Yeah,
and of course, similar for Rek'Sai as well. We talk about these junglers being a very important one, and again, if you want to hear from jungle experts specifically about the matchup, switch streams and get off of us, because you've got Kobe, Acadian, and Crumbs talking about these junglers specifically, and like what Zyrene said a bit ago, I'm going to go back and watch that VOD too. I'm not a jungler, but that sounds like a lot of fun to listen to. So if you want that opinion, bring that one in. Otherwise, we're going to talk about the game at large. And yeah, it feels like these top laners going to be pretty volatile here. Two fighters that have some escapes, but might see some jungle help. Huhi's Aurelion Sol to face up against Pobelter's Azir, and I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun watching these two go at it. So it's time to get ourselves into game one of the match, and you guys online at home, prove your allegiance on Twitter. Vote using hashtag IMTWin or hashtag CLGWin to show your support for which squad it's going to be. We are getting ourselves into game one of this matchup. Immortals looking to secure the second spot in the playoffs here in North America. Logic Gaming hoping to finally go above 500 for the first time all season long, or all split long, and prove that they deserve to be a top caliber team again.
Would be absolutely huge for them, not only to deny the win and that secured playoff spot for Immortals, but confidence boost, showing that you can compete against the very best still. Would really be a morale raiser here. And one interesting thing to note, double exhaust for CLG. Huhi's going to be playing that exhaust, and I think it's smart when you're going up against some of these crazy diving burst type champions like the Nidalee, like the Hecarim. You have to be able to survive through that. If he gets that max charge, devastating charge off on you, it's going to completely blast you. So having exhaust is pretty important.
Yeah, and in terms of being a safe AD carry against Hecarim, it's actually very, very easy for Hecarim to break through Sivir's spell shield. The ulti is two parts. There's a Fear and the Shadows that deal damage, both of which can trigger Spell Shield individually, and you get the other one. You can Rampage, which is the Q while you're doing the devastating charge to pop Spell Shield before you hit. It's pretty much impossible for Stixxay to live through Huni without help from his team. So
yeah, he's going to need a lot, and the double exhaust will
it's
be
a big
that,
part
hopefully.
of that.
But Bard is not exactly fantastic at peeling Hecarim and Nidalee and some of these diving champions, so Stixxay is going to have to play very, very well if he wants to be able to stay alive. And so far, teams kind of just scouting each other out. The deep wards did come down there for CLG. And I think they probably want a lane swap, even though Bard is a strong laner. I just don't feel that Bard Sivir is going to match up well against the Lucian Karma.
Yeah, that does feel quite a bit better for Lucian Karma, honestly. It's at the very least, it's more reliable. If you could win by CLG, it would require a much better skill shot accuracy. And
and CLG is waiting. They're actually waiting for the bot lane duo to pass that ward. So they're both sitting in mid lane, waiting to avoid it. And they are able to get it thanks to those deep wards. So they will dodge this matchup, and we will go into the lane swap. Jungle and top laners are going to be meeting up here, and Aphro's going in, but this is pretty late. Not going to be able to interrupt the camp. They're actually trying to sneak around.
Get his gold on Hecarim,
They're trying to sneak around and see if they can get anything done on Hecarim.
Well, similar on the top side, Darshan taking a Piercing Light, puts on a Counter-Strike. No leap for him because he had no wards to jump to, but he is going to walk away. Adrian gets all the gold he needs. Several auto attacks in, and Huni in a similar boat. Huni actually lost his Ghost for this one, which shouldn't matter in a lane swap. It'll come back from cooldown before too long. But in both cases, the supports earned a bit of gold, try to harass the top laners, and now, look at this, an early roam.
Huhi's actually coming down.
Got the shove on mid lane. This is why he likes Aurelion Sol. It's such a good pushing champion, and he actually denies the red buff. And compare what Xmithie got. He's getting all three camps in that north jungle. Reingover only gets two, and now there's a red buff, and it's going to be a 3 buff for CLG, thanks to partially Huhi's champion choice. And
he's actually trying to set up for a potential gank here at mid lane. He's already pathing over, looking to get that in, and we'll see if they can get Pobelter flash in.
Knock up, double stun's gonna land. They're gonna chase in, but they know that Pobelter can flash away under turret. Good reservation there by CLG, but a great set of damage and a flash or a heal burned out.
Yeah, very close there for Pobelter, but CLG makes the right call not to overdive and risk dying to the turret there. Either way, good first move from Xmithie. Doesn't net them a kill though, and it does cost him a flash, so we'll have to see if it's really going to pay off. And lane swap in full effect. First turret going down there for Immortals. Darshan's going to pick up his local gold, and game will continue.
Yes, and I want to see what Darshan and Aphromoo do with their time, because we know round 2 of the lane swap typically sees people knock down that second turret on the other side of the map pretty quickly here. but they do have some time to run around, and maybe we'll see them actually go for that repeat gank onto Pobelter. Of course, yes, his flash is still up. Yes, he's Azir, but sometimes you find that opening. And CLG are kind of in the driver's seat for that sort of play.
Especially when it is those multi-man ganks, if you can actually get the knock-up from Xmithie to follow up, a flash counter-strike from Darshan, those sort of things. You have the stun as well from Huhi. It doesn't always matter if you even have your flash. If you get hit by one, sometimes you get hit by everything. So it can be a bit of a rough situation there. And as a result, Pobelter is likely going to play very carefully. Anytime you blow a summoner, you have to know the other team is thinking about it, looking to find a way to capitalize.
And Huhi's getting a further advantage here. He got a nice, quick blue buff give over. Pretty standard now for professional Rek'Sais to try to take their blue buff late in the jungle route, give it over to their mid laner, around 4 minutes in. That's going to be the case here for Huhi. And it means more and more infinite mana for this guy who's already recalled once, got his Dark Seal and a pink ward to keep himself safe.
I do worry a little bit for the top lane right now is Darshan, because Xmithie's on the bot side of the map. You can already see Reingover's moving up top. They want to deny the freeze, and had Xmithie been here, there would be a potential to actually hold this off and try to fight for a freeze. It's not going to happen at all, but Darshan needs to pick up the CS. If he does lose all that farm, it's going to be pretty devastating. Thankfully for him, it looks like they just want to back off, and he will at least get that, because if you lose that experience, if you lose that gold, that top lane matchup is essentially done. And
if Pobelter had priority on mid lane, that could have been a 3v1 dive, right? A level 2 Darshan, look, you can counter-strike even the empowered Q from the Nidalee, so the 2-man dive was not a possibility. But if Pobelter could have gone up there, Darshan loses 3 waves, he's down 2 levels on Huni, he loses that matchup outright. So some of the lane advantages spilling over.
Yeah, so I would be interested to hear what the jungle stream thinks about that first move from Xmithie, if not being on the top side, not anticipating that. But at the same time, if he feels he's safe, you can try to make the counter play to say, okay, jungler's going to be up there, he can't counter gank me elsewhere, and look for it, another place on the map.
Well, CLG slow pushing in the bot side right there. Of course, they're matched up 2-on-2, and well, we talked about Reingover being on the top side near Darshan, but keep in mind, Xmithie's was on the bot side near the Immortals duo, and they've had to kind of hide away from some of this farm. It's now starting to equalize, and the junglers have somewhat switched spots as Xmithie's in the top side, which means the Immortals duo will be safe, although they are far from their own turret.
Yep, Call already stacking away here for Turtle. Going to be feeling pretty good about that. And Darshan has equalized the farm in the top lane, although it is a pretty fat wave that's going to be pushing into Huni. So, tip for tat, they're going to try to equalize this and make sure they can hold on. But Azir is actually roaming up top. Xmithie has spotted him.
Xmithie lets himself be known, actually.
Darshan, though.
Well, if Huni can even do it, they know that Rek'Sai's around, so do you even want to go for this time? Look how much damage Huni's actually taking, but now Reingover's here. It's a 3-on-2, a nice jump over to Xmithie. He uses Flash to get farther.
Nice
a knock-up by the Rek'Sai as well, and look at the damage up, but Huni can't chase anymore. Darshan gets away, a good 3v2 defense, but now Huhi is here, and he's level 6. Stun's going to land on a Pobelter. Can they get any more damage? Exhaust is on. There's the Flash out. Pobelter still has heal, a big 2-man knock of the Flash to chase in for Pobelter. They cannot quite catch Huni. Darshan wants in, and now Aphro's joining the fray as well. That should be a 2-man stun. A beautiful play by the CLG support. They won't get quite any more just yet, but Huni's still on the chase. Heal comes through, crossblade across, and Reingover gonna live. No, he's gonna die. A great flash chase by Stixxay, and now Pobelter is out of health, and he's out of options. A kill for Darshan. It will trade into the turret, but that is still CLG coming out 3-2.
Exciting early plays there. Immortals tried to make the aggressive move. They want to snowball Huni, and it really did backfire on them as there was a massive minion wave at the start of this. You can see him kind of trading into this, and I think if Darshan actually started fighting earlier, it could have gone even worse, because he doesn't even use his counter-strike until much, much later. If he had stunned him, he could have actually gotten the solo kill before anything happened, but now it is the retreat, and beautiful unburrow there by Xmithie, actually saving Darshan from that pounce execute. He unburrowed, perfect timing, denies the damage, and now Huhi, very patient here, lands a stun, doesn't just pop the ulti, waits, look at this, they're all stacked, now hits the 3-man ulti, really nice stuff from him, and Aphro on the roam, as always. He looks for the juicy targets, lands the 2-man flash binding, beautiful. Xmithie picking it up with the Prey Seeker, and now the dive here, a little bit messy. I think there was some miscommunication as half the team was not right there, but Stixxay is able to flash, pick up the last kill, and Darshan trading it out here, so definitely not the cleanest.
Yeah. Yeah, he definitely is looking okay for himself, and yeah, basically Aphromoo managed to execute to the turret, by the way. He pulled aggro, danced it out, took a heal, pulled aggro again, but no one touched him, so you're seeing CLG with 3 deaths. They're okay for themselves. Alright, so looking at the lane assignments right now, you have Darshan on the bot side. Huni's going to have to recall and join him here. Looks like CLG are up tempo right now. 500 gold lead with +1 kill. Roughly as expected there. Farm pretty equal otherwise. And there's that second blue buff going over the Pobelter now.
The bot lane lead going to be pretty nice for Turtle. Is up a fair bit in the CS. Obviously, that's equalized by kills, but he's working on that call too, so that'll be a boost of gold. So Immortals definitely not too far behind by any means, but the most meaningful lead is probably going to be in the top lane. Darshan, we talked about how that matchup is actually pretty good for him. He's up almost 20 CS. He got a kill for himself, and he's up 2 levels. Huni's not even level 6 against the level 7 Jax, and Huhi is looking to kind of roam down, but does back off. And Darshan needs to be careful not overextend and throw away this lead, because Reingover's coming.
Well, as long as they can track the rest of the champions, they know it's only a 2-on-2. He spots out that everyone's there. Darshan now to try to make the outplay, pops the ult for the stats, and yeah, Reingover can't fight him.
The sun. There's
He's
no
gonna
flash.
drop him low, and it's gonna be some help from Aphromoo. Another kill picked up. They bit off more than they could chew, fighting a level 7 Jax.
Yeah, that was very aggressive, and CLG read them like a book there. Ooh, ultimate leveled up from Huni, and he gets out, but still a lot of damage going down on this turret. The jungler is behind. The Jax is getting massive. CLG looks to be in full swing.
They are in full swing, and they can threaten another dive onto Huni. He's barely able to get XP on any of this. That turret's going to go down, and nicely played by CLG, playing around their winning top laner. Yeah, sure, they're sacrificing top lane tier 2, but it's plus a kill, and it's still up tempo.
And they can move towards the dragon if they do so choose. And as far as the AD carry matchup, I really do feel that Lucian being a bit ahead of Sivir is so much less important than getting that 1v1 split push advantage for your Jax, when your goal is really going to be to kind of lengthen the game, get him in those 1v1 matchups where he can succeed. And so far, they're doing a great job of that. He has the advantageous matchup, and now he has the lead.
And even look at this, Pobelter never made his way up to the top side of the map, so Stixxay was able to hold his turret 1 versus 2. So
not bad.
Yes, that turret's very low. Maybe Immortals can revisit later on, but if CLG keeps the pressure on, that's goal that's not being answered.
Definitely.
1,200 up right now for Counter Logic Gaming against most expectations here. Aphromoo, Reingover see each other via wards. He's going to do some damage to Karma.
You can see Jax hanging out around here, but Darshan needs to make sure that he's in bot lane in time to pick up this farm. You need to continue extending that advantage. You can't allow it to just fall away by just kind of hanging out in the wrong place. So he is making the move down. He's going to lose some of the farm, but hopefully for him, not too much. Probably will only be like 4 or 5 minions, something like that, maybe not even. So he is doing okay. Will miss the cannon, though.
Unlucky.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, Darshan only about 400 gold away from finishing Trinity Force right now, so he's really about to power spike heavily and make life hell for Huni if they match up again after he can buy that item.
Yeah, and they're both, since they're both Trinity Force users, you're relying on that power spike so heavily that when your opponent gets it a lot earlier, it can be pretty devastating. But Huni's going in for the TP. They're looking for the bot lane kill.
And Darshan's teleport up not actually available for about 20 more seconds. It's going to be Xmithie joining, but here comes the play on Aphromoo. Dangerously low, flash over the wall. There's Reingover on the chase. Bartleby buys a little bit of time, but he is certainly going to dive for this one. There's the kill picked up, finds a stun, finds a bit to delay, and it's just going to be Darshan split pushing. He's unable to join the team. 1 for 0. Nice play by Immortals.
Yeah, good play by Immortals, but a good job by Aphro to buy some time there too, minimizing losses. It's only the support going down. It is the TP. It's a big move to the top lane, and they didn't lose that much. So there is the the opportunity cost of sending all those players up there, and Darshan getting more alone time here, up 30 CS. Huni back in time to pick up the farm, so that is good for him.
And that's the funny thing, you talked about opportunity cost. Well, Darshan hard pushed a wave without a tier 2 turret up. There's no real damage was really dealt right here, other than the fact that Huni is visible without teleport on a very defensive part of the map.
Yeah.
So it's a guaranteed 5v4 on the other 90% of the map.
And Darshan has teleport. That TP. So what can they get back, right? You have to. It's tit for tat. We'll see if Darshan can actually capitalize on that cooldown being down. He has both his summoners. He has his Trinity Force. This is his time to kind of make Huni pay for that. He got a support. Can you get more? We'll find out in the coming minutes.
Gold lead only 800 right now. Basically just the turret kill that happened, as Immortals have done a good job of farming for themselves, as well as the cull about to pay off for Wildturtle's Lucian, as his power is going to come in soon enough. Going towards actually an Essence Reaver build. So, not the typical Mass Armor Pen one. Different flavor for him.
Yeah, one of the most impressive things for me about Immortals is that even when they're losing fights, it feels like they're winning the map.
Yes.
And they're so good at always picking up turrets, picking up the extra farm, getting the jungle camps here and there. So even in games, not that they're massively behind in kills by any means, it's only one. Even in games where they are losing fight after fight after fight, they're almost always relevant in gold. So they always give themselves the opportunity to get back into games. Huhi, though, looking to make a move to top lane, has his flight available. Xmithie hanging around as well. There's a lot of attention up here right now.
He knows Reingover's here. He's going to kill away the ward in time. Nicely done by the CLG crew. And yeah, looks like that dive won't happen to anything else right now.
Also means that Jax knows he's safe in the bot lane, so Darshan can push up there. He knows everyone is top. The mid laner has showed in the mid lane, so there's no worry for him right now. He can get aggressive and shove in and try to look to rotate and get something done because Huni cannot respond to it. He has to answer the minion waves. What can Darshan do?
And I want to actually go back to the point you made about Immortals always feeling like they're winning even when they're not. It's funny because you look at the scoreboard at the top of the screen and you look at the gold difference. You're like, oh, the team that's up gold is winning the game, you would think.
Be careful.
Okay, got the red buff. Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit as Darshan fighting 1v2 with the red buff. The fear actually misses from Huni, and Darshan wins the 1v2, and now to fight Reingover, and he will finally be taken down. But look how much effort it required the dynamic duo of Immortals to kill him off.
That was so close. He was a split second from having another ability. Would have been able to pop out Reingover. Thankfully for Reingover, he gets the execute there. Very close. Darshan making a little bit of an overstep perhaps, but he does make it work with the outplay there onto Huni, and Huni still does not have that Trinity Force finish, is hurting, and Darshan picks up another kill for himself, and Xmithie now.
Ooh, Pobelter finding a nice knockback onto Xmithie, who flashes the way, pulls in Reingover, stun's gonna land, only comes across the trade of junglers. They both died. Now, can Huni get in onto Pobelter? Looks like the answer is no. A beautiful stun into Wildturtle, perfectly set up by Aphromoo. We caught the end of that one, and top lane turret's gonna go down, CLG getting farther ahead.
So that was a TP from Darshan. They do get more out of it. They get an AD carry kill, they get a turret, so that is the trade, the opportunity cost from earlier, but Huni now almost has his TP back, so it's gonna be back and forth, who can get the edge, and Rift Herald, a great way to extend that advantage. You got a kill, you got control of the top side of the map. Darshan really would love this buff because that would last 35 plus minutes into the game, which oftentimes means the game is already decided by that point. It's going to give him a massive advantage in the 1v1.
And this is a pretty beautiful game by Counter Logic Gaming. Certainly Immortals not rolling over, playing pretty smart themselves, but CLG looking a bit like the CLG of old, the one that took back-to-back North American championships here, the one that did quite well at the Midseason Invitational. We're seeing an aggressive team with good individual play, their unique champions coming out, and it's been beautiful.
It has been absolutely fantastic for them, and we are going to see this play up in the top lane, and a lot of damage gets traded onto Stixxay there. They decide to go aggressive, and now the TP comes in. The ultimate pop for the counter engage here. A beautiful ulti from Aphro. No chance of escaping here for Wildturtle. Darshan picks up the kill. So the overextension, big punish there. Great quick TP from Darshan as soon as they saw the opportunity. He's rewarded with another kill. The turret, the Rift Herald, and that extra gold. So fantastic stuff for them. Building towards what is likely Blade of the Rune King.
Yeah.
He's going to be massive.
He is going to be massive, and definitely props to Darshan for making that teleport play. As you mentioned, though, an overextension by Immortals, not respecting the teleport. But now we have Huni and Reingover trying to, again, keep the tempo up. This time, Darshan doesn't have teleport, and, there's no one to really join him on that side of the map. The turret finally does go down. All that work Immortals put in earlier finally pays off here. And the game back to 1,000 difference. CLG up 2 kills in a turret. Farm otherwise slightly edging now Immortals' way, if you kind of consider where the math would go. Riley's in for Reingover. This Nidalee, while with 3 deaths, is still going to be quite a threat in fights, and CLG finally now looking at the first Elemental Drake of the game. Cloud going to go to them. You have to wonder, they probably would have prioritized it more highly if it was a different one.
Yeah, I agree. I think they would have, and they could have gone for it at an earlier time in the game, but they were prioritizing just getting the farm, picking up as much experience as possible, which is so important in the early game. And they have gotten a lot of vision deep in the jungle, which is kind of one of their advantages because of this pressure. They're looking for the pick on Adrian.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of damage, and that's going to be a Karma dropping down immediately. Teleport coming in for Huni. Does he want to be part of the fight? He doesn't. Huni even pre-casted the stun just in case, and a nice magical journey to take them far, far away.
Another win for CLG. They get the kill. They get the TP down. So Darshan will have the advantage, and they're looking for it. Turtle's caught.
Huhi rather goes in, and he pre-aims the stun. Mad Life's Wildturtle, beautifully done by Counter Logic Gaming's mid laner. They find both bot laners dead. They took the Drake. They've got complete control.
Huhi is everywhere this game. He's roaming nonstop, always having mid lane priority, pushing them in and nailing the stuns, the ultimates. He has been on point on the Aurelion Sol so far. Extremely impressed with how he's playing.
Absolutely agree. And a player that had gotten so much flack earlier in the split for being one of the weaker performing members of CLG. Yeah, looking for the inhibitor turret, but be careful because the respawn timers are short. Yeah, Bard Mastery right there. You can portal that way.
That's what I was going to say.
You just down the side of a lane. You can do it from the fountain too. That's about a similar length. And
you can tell how good someone is at Bard by how far they can make that portal go and how quickly they can do it. So
right, exactly.
Afro definitely a very good Bard player. Has spent a fair bit of time on it.
Some, you know, a little.
Yeah. Exciting stuff, though, for CLG fans. Huhi working towards that Rylai's. When you do hit that, that's like the ultimate form of the Aurelion Sol. Yes, it has pretty good scaling, but I do feel like that 2-item power spike is your best point in the game because you have a lot of HP, you're tanky, you have the mana, and they cannot escape. You tag them with one of those constellations, you know, your rotating W, and they now just have to basically blow a summoner or do something or commit to a fight because that slow is just never going to end in combination with your ultimate, which adds a big slow. Hui's already out of there.
Yeah.
Saw the play coming in from Huni.
There's a lot that lines up as you were talking about the power curve of Aurelion Sol with the 2 items. It also lines up with being level 13. His last ability to max is E is a non-combat spell, so he doesn't really even gain more damage except for buying raw ability power for the most part. There's obviously some tools in there, but also to keep in mind, I want to temper this game a little bit. Immortals fans can be a little happy here. The game is still very close.
Oh, yeah.
We're within 2,020 minutes, which is certainly a winnable disadvantage.
One team fight and the game's back to even, right?
Yeah.
This is not a scenario where they're out of it just yet, and CLG's always going to have to be so careful, and not only because there's a hyper-scaling Azir played by one of the best mid laners in the region. That is always going to be so frightening, but Huni, there's so much play potential on the Hecarim. Yes, he's losing the 1v1 against Jax. It doesn't matter, though, as Bard ult does miss, because he can always go for kills on Stixxay. You talked about it at the start of the game. It's so hard to spell shield that devastating charge, and if he can zero out Stixxay, you know, get a good flank, that can mean the end of the fight, you know, in combination with the Azir and some of these other powerful characters. So although Huhi's making a lot happen, it's a 2-1-2 Azir. He's up 20 CS. Pobelter looking very strong and going to be, you know, the backbone of this team if they want to be able to carry.
Definitely agree. A little bit of poke coming down at a Pobelter. The Bard stun missed, and part of Stixxay's crossblade hits him, so a bit of damage there, but he'll regen it back up as we look for CLG to keep playing the aggressive levels. You can see where the minion waves are. All three actually pushed in towards Immortals territory. Wildturtle trying to turn around the top side. He's the one getting this one to go back the other way.
One thing I would like to see CLG do is make a return to the bottom side jungle, get the deep vision again so Darshan can play more aggressively. They had such fantastic vision down there, but Immortals did clear it out. Reingover and Adrian doing good work on that, and it does make it a lot scarier for Darshan, but he may go for the outplay anyway. He may look for that 1v1. Here he goes!
Gonna get the stun, gonna get plenty of damage across there. Huni at half health already, and Darshan only gets that one round. His counter-strike, or no, his leap strike just came back up after Huni got out of range. Still 4 points in that, and no more than the 20 CDR from his Trinity Force, but you may see him get 2 Qs in a rotation later on. Normally, though, if Huni wants to run, he's going to get away at that.
Yeah, the best he was hoping for there is to force the ult. If you force the ulti, that's great, right? And that takes away so much of Hecarim's teamfight power. So he was trying to hope to get enough damage in there to do that, but either way, easily wins the trade, still applying pressure. It's always something that when you're a jungler and your top lane's losing against a split pressure like this, you always have to be thinking, oh god, I got to help Hecarim, I got to help him, I got to be in position, because in those extended fights, he will get smashed. Here he goes.
Looks for it again. Darshan getting plenty of damage out there. This time saving the counter-strike in case he gets ganked around. He knew that the stun didn't really change much in his damage profile. And again, gets priority on that lane. Reingover forced to run away from Huhi right now. Turns back in, ults him back into the range, and here comes Aphromoo. Does not quite land the stun. Big shield comes out of Adrian, and Pobelter's going to run away and stay alive. Yep, teleport coming in for both top laners. Now stun's going to land, and Hecarim has to ult himself out. Does get saved yet again by a shield, and a flash. Pobelter getting away from the Bard ulti. Tempered Fate not going to get a kill just yet. Now Wildturtle left-hand side gets a bit of damage across. Magical Journey for a retreat from Counter Logic Gaming, and Pobelter nearly knocks down Huhi, who flashes away to not be shuffled back into his own turret.
A lot of good plays back and forth. Reingover flashing out the binding. Beautiful stun timed out onto Turtle gets caught.
Yeah, he was not supposed to be there though, by himself, forced to flash away from this
Adrian
one. So CLG
so is Pobelter.
winning in cooldown. They've got to be careful because that Sun Disc goes down. A flash chase for Darshan. Wildturtle's nowhere to go, and a nice kill picked up by Counter Logic Gaming. 10-5 in that regard, and now into the mid lane tier 2. It's going to get dropped down pretty easily. No health bars or mana bars for Immortals to stop them right here. And Counter Logic Gaming +1 turret, +1 kill.
And they're going for the Infernal Dragon. That's a big one. Teams really prioritize it, and CLG having all these kind of individual outplays on different sides of the fight. A very kind of skirmish-heavy, extended team fight. It was not a 5v5 brawl. All these players having to make good individual plays for them to come out on top. Fantastic stuff from them. Immortals, though, really could have lost so much more had they not played that fight well. And it will be the second Dragon of the game going the way of CLG. Advantages are stacking up. Another kill on Darshan. 5-2-0, up 20 CS over Huni. Going to be so hard to stop the Jackson. Here's how it all started. Huhi a little far up there, and the flash on the stun does come out from Reingover, and now both teams back off. Beautifully timed stun there onto Hekra, means he has to go into full retreat and gets out of there immediately. Now another nice flash there from Adrian. He escapes on the side. CLG pushes forward onto the bot lane duo, and it's very close. Aphromoo almost going down there. Now, Pobelter almost goes down. Huhi has to flash the Azir ultimate. So all these individual plays that were very well done on both sides keeps this a close, extended fight. But eventually it does go the way of CLG. As Turtle gets caught, he has to flash. In the extended fight, he actually does eventually get chased down here by Darshan, gets taken out as Jax does come in. This is the lone kill of the fight, but now we are back to live in the mid lane. Immortals looking to push in, trying to get something back, trying to get a turret and force, Darshan to group and stop split pushing.
Yeah, they always try that. So Darshan actually not going Ruin King, but Hextech Gunblade actually.
This is super popular in solo queue.
Right. It's more sustain, it's more damage, less attack speed, but it basically gives you a nice, a bigger sort of chunk out of your opponent in a lot of cases, and it keeps you full, lets them split push a bit better in these sort of regards. We'll see what Darshan can do further on with this one. And yeah, it's to talk about Immortals being behind and what they do, like, a 3,000 gold deficit does not make you lose many of the team fights you weren't going to lose anyway, right? There's very few cases where that amount of gold makes the entire difference. And so as long as Immortals were able to make the same good choices they were otherwise, the game is basically equivalent. The differences are the fact that CLG have a lever in that, well, they can always have the 1v1 top lane matchup win.
And that's where the gold does matter, where you have that 1,200 or so gold advantage for Jax, and he is already in an advantageous matchup. Huni's actually going to get chunked here pretty hard. Ghost has to be popped. Can he even get out?
Jump. He doesn't have his Gunblade back up, but it's going to be Huhi who wants to join this one. Can't quite find the opponent, and none of that CC is going to land. But that's Huni blowing all of his cooldowns to get away from that.
Yeah, good sidestep, but you can see that chunk slow from the Gunblade allows him to land the Counter-Strike this time, means not only the Ghost has to be popped, but the ultimate, because CLG members were making that roam. The advantage is starting to extend. Frozen Heart is done for Huni. He's respecting the Jax, trying to keep high on CDR, so if he does have to blow those, those cooldowns like the ulti, he can have them back up more quickly. He's going to be maxed out on CDR, so that's not going to be the end of the world for him.
And he's going towards Magic Resist now, which is actually a fair portion of Jax's kit, especially when he goes towards Gunblade, right? The W and the R do magic damage. They all scale off ability power in the first place. And
Spirit Visage also great because it increases the healing that you're taking from your W, so works well in combination with that. Only thing about this build that I don't love is you're actually quite a bit over CDR cap with that. So
he's already at 40, and Visage is another 10.
He could go Banshees or something instead if he wants to go that way, but I think that Visage, even with that CDR kind of being wasted, I think it's better.
I definitely agree with you. I mean, all you have to look at is like, look, here's what I'm actually getting, here's the cost. Worth it? Yes, no. And the choice is that, yes, Visage is worth it. Even if you're not getting any value out of the CDR.
At least in my opinion.
Yeah, and I agree with you. So in our opinion,
there you go.
Caster synergy, buddy.
There you go.
And
you
probably
got my back, freak.
Probably also in Huni's opinion.
Wow,
so he's got our back too. Yeah, and he's like right in front of me too. So he knows.
You can see the connection.
I'm like 20 feet from Huni right now.
Baron being started up by CLG though. Darshan on the bot side. Both top laners have TP. Mortal's kind of slow playing it. They're not sure if this is a bait or what. And this is going down quick. They're gonna have to make a move. We'll see it.
Bartleby stops too. Will Immortal be able to go in? Reingover can look for the smite. Still, he's gonna get it. Beautiful by Reingover. Counter Logic Gaming with an easy retreat thanks to Magical Journey. Sad times ahead for Xmithie, pulling the game a little bit closer for Immortals. And maybe that's all they needed to make the comeback start happening.
That was massive for Reingover to get that steal. Absolutely massive to not only take it away, the gold, the split push advantage would have been astronomical for Darshan, and that was so good for them. They're looking for a catch though.
Ooh, beautiful by Pobelter. Outplays both sides of it. Bard goes for the flash stun, but doesn't quite land it against the wall.
He got rejected by the zero wall there.
He got the Q out, but the stun, I don't think there's anyone to actually follow up, so I think that was a bit too aggressive by Aphro regardless. And yeah, no gains here for Counterlogic Gaming. They tried to make the play off of the scattered recalls of Immortals. Didn't happen.
It looked like they actually wanted to bail out. The Bard portal went down, and they're trying to think, okay, we can get out. But the Baron was too low. Immortals would have just taken it if you bail out at that point anyway. Yeah. And they didn't feel that they could turn for the fight. So they had to go for the Smite fight. And Reingover, with that execute damage on the Nidalee, is going to have the advantage in that kind of 50-50.
Yeah, bad call by CLG. They could have gone to just engage in the 2-on-2, maybe even a Huhi ult to knock out the Nidalee. Yeah, and there's a goal lead for Immortals. When they took the Baron, it was 1,000 off. They clear the wave, take out the mid lane turret, and now it's 1,000 up. And now another play on this side. Huhi forced a flash wave, but Huni is on top of him. That's one kill picked up. Xmithie's going to get away for now, but he's stuck into the turret and slowed down, and the chase is still happening. There's Rek'Sai down to 800 HP. A nice stun onto Huni, but he's a really tanky man. Gets a heal from Nidalee, gets a shield as well from his support Karma, and Adrian keeps him alive. Another turret going down. Aphromoo low on health, gets picked off. A nice kill picked up yet again by Immortals. That's 2 already.
It's all falling apart, and now Huni TPing in. They're going to get the inhibitor, and they're going to be pushing for more. They could actually look to end this with a big minion wave, 2 down, and just like that,
Immortals.
They're back against the walls. They need to make a play here. Can they hold on?
They're going to try, but I don't know if they can. Darshan's just too squishy with this build. He's only supposed to be split pushing. Xmithie now stuck under the turret, taking plenty of damage. Guardian Angel picked up. The knockback works on a Stixxay, and just like that, Immortals are going to cement the comeback.
They have no minions, though. They have no minions.
I don't know.
Hold on? Darshan needs to go in. He needs to look for it.
Huhi is back alive. Xmithie has Guardian Angel. Wildturtle kiting away from Darshan. There's one kill picked up. Huhi back into the fight, and they're going to get so much damage. Look at the cleanup right there. Huhi's already picked up a couple now for himself. Huni's running away. Adrian's going to drop this double kill for Aurelion Sol, and the Bard chases in. Pobelter now out of mana. Huni running away with rainbows behind him, but CLG want the pot of gold. A nice ult by Huni gets away from the knockup, but Huhi still finds a kill onto Pobelter. Shurima is falling. The death timers are 25 seconds long, and Counterlogic Gaming can regain control of the map right here. They try to cut off Huni with 2. They try to control mid with the rest. And they're going to try to stop him. They stop him. Xmithie smelled it out and realized that he was not going anywhere except in that brush. So now mid lane being pushed down. 10 seconds. Though. Yes, 10 seconds on the respawns. Couple of minions here. CLG have to choose. Do they go mid lane? Do they reset? Do they take Cloud Drake? What's it going to be? The gold, 2,000 down for CLG, but close.
What a crazy turn of events. CLG in control the whole game. Yeah. Immortals comes up big. You give them one chance, and they take so much. And now Huhi is being chased down here. Will get out, but it looks like no Cloud Drake move for CLG. The Baron steal turns into a pick, turns into a fight for their lives, where CLG is barely able to survive. Xmithie was huge here. The minions ran out, so they do get that backdoor protection, which was the only thing that kept them up, as this turret became so tanky. Turtle's taking a lot of damage there, and there was actually some team fight mistakes. Watch Darshan go into Turtle, and Huni actually bumps him into him, pushes him forward so the counter-strike lands. Had that not happened, he may have not actually been able to take down Turtle. Either way, the members respawning. They do get those exit kills, but no Nexus turrets, no bot lane inhibitor. It's still anyone's game, but this is an inch from being Immortals, and it's so tense right now for CLG because if you lose any team fight, they simply walk into your base and they kill the Nexus.
And this actually warps how you can actually play League of Legends. Normally you don't get into these states where your Nexus is alone like this early into the game, so the death timers are a bit different, but basically Counterlogic Gaming can never let Immortals reach their base without being spotted. Even if the inhibitor respawns, there's usually enough time you kill that down, kill the Nexus before CLG can recall. So
it dies so fast.
Counterlogic Gaming must always keep control of the bot side of their base, which is problematic because the top side's going to have Baron pretty soon.
And it makes it very hard for Darshan to actually do his split push duties because they have to be so careful about their base just getting hard engaged on by the Hecarim, and then they go straight for the Nexus. They don't have any time to be bought with these additional Nexus turrets, but Darshan is looking for a flank. He wants to come in from behind. They land the ulti. Can they follow up? Pobelter is caught.
Ult on 2. Pobelter stunned up, takes plenty of damage. There's not enough follow-up though, thanks to his ulti. Darshan gets in the back line, but Azir's turret's trying to keep the Empire alive. A trade of 2 for 1 so far, a double for Huhi. The turret still dealing damage to the CLG mid laner. Wildturtle nearly gets crit down, finally does trade his life back. 3 dead on one side, 2 dead on the other.
Nice
Zhonya's by Huhi, trying to get away now as Reingover is retreating. Counterlogic Gaming have 3 members alive. Bot lane is pushing in toward them, but they might get something more done right here. Aphro a bit low. The rest of CLG have tools to use. Plus gold for Counterlogic Gaming only resets the map, and they've got to wait for respawn.
Extremely close fight there. Such a good setup by the Bard. I think he should be fine. I mean, Huni's out of mana.
Yeah. So. Xmithie takes away the Raptor, make sure he grabs it.
Yeah.
Buff gets cleared away by a nearby Trinket Ward. and it's going to be Cloud Drake.
And so here's the fight once again. Darshan setting up for the flank. You can see him coming in from the bot side. And now Aphromoo on point as always. Nails it. Lands the follow-up. They have so much CC, so much damage coming in. Pobelter, but Adrian's huge. Look at this. Saves the exhaust. Tethers Darshan off. He has the Mantra E onto Pobelter, so keeps him up for so much time. Allows them to get that kill on Darshan. And now Turtle going in for the play. Lands the crits. Trades his life out though. Beautiful zone is here from Huhi. No orbits actually do connect with Reingover, so they don't get the slow. They're not able to get those exit kills. A very tense game. Baron up in 50. Next Dragon will be Elder. So it was another Cloud going over the way of CLG. They're 3 for 0 on the Dragons, which is going to be big if we come to Elder time because they get the additional true damage burn, and they are going to be able to be faster on the engages, faster on the retreats with that.
And we are playing still on 6.13, so this is the pre-buffed, some would say overpowered Cloud Drake now at this point, so it's the 15 out of combat move speed per stack in this version of the game.
Yeah,
so pretty solid stuff right now. 2,000 still, a gold lead for Immortals. Bot lane and Hay will respawn very, very soon. That should leave the minions at equilibrium. And there it is.
One thing we have not talked much about is the lead that Stixxay has carved out for himself. He's up 70 plus CS. He's completed 4 items. This is a monster AD carry, and the Ricochet can be devastating on squishy champions like the Azir. You know, even just bouncing to him, those crits can really mean a lot in taking these guys out.
And he's even run for the Last Whisper build to really make sure he can cut through on the heavy front line. If you've got Frozen Heart, Thornmail, Huni Hecarim, who's going to be almost invincible if it weren't for that item. Looking for the play again. Reingover getting slowed out, though. Goes in too hard. And look at the damage he takes in the backline. And separated thanks to Aphromoo. And here comes the dive. They get past the Azir wall. They picked off Wildturtle. Huhi putting on the slows, looking for Pobelter. And no one split pushing the map. It's a triple kill already for CLG's mid. They're going to get up fourth. What a beautiful team fight. Reingover the only one alive to try to save the game, but I don't think he can do it.
Reingover's going for the back door. They're pinging it out. He's going to try to make a base race here, try to make them turn around. Can he do it? No, Jax is already based. He does have the TP available, but Aphromoo, are you kidding me with these plays?
I think this is the game right now. It's Darshan slaughtering Reingover. There's almost no chance right now for Immortals to take this one back. Turret's inhibitor's already falling. A nice jump over the wall. Chase down. Beautiful by Darshan. The respawn's too long. This will be the game 1 win for Counter Logic Gaming. They were winning the early game. They almost threw it away, but they come back and take a solid game 1.